Well, good morning and welcome to CityLine. It is great to be in your home this morning. It is a rainy Thursday morning, April 22nd. Back to school is just around the corner, and we have some great ideas and some programs to share with you in this next hour. Later on, we'll be talking with the Children's Museum of Tacoma. The Power of Play Luncheon is just around the corner. So Kat and Jessica will be here to talk about how you can get involved with that. And then the Equity and Human Rights in Tacoma is here to talk about equity and human rights in housing and in employment, something we all need to know, so you definitely want to take notes on that segment. And then Michael Mira is here. He is the Executive Director of the Tacoma Housing Authority. He is here to talk about the Housing Authority, the vital role that they play here in Tacoma, and some of the issues that they are facing as we move forward in our state of emergency when it comes to homelessness and housing. And then with me right now, I have three individuals who are here to talk about the Washington NASA Space Grant Consortium. This is a phenomenal program. And if you don't know about this, parents, well, you should. So here we go. Please join me in welcoming Gwen Hallett. You are the program manager of this program. Welcome, Miss Gwen.
Thank you.
Good to have you here in the studio. You brought with you this fabulous, bright, young individual, Abigail Loboda. You are a senior at Lincoln High School.
Yes, thank you.
And you have also been a part of this program, and I can't wait to hear about your experiences as well. And rounding out the big comfy couch in the jacket, I'm going to somehow try to talk you into leaving behind, but I don't have a whole lot of hope. Professor Robert Winglee, you are the director of this program as well. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. We're going to call you Robert from this point on. How's that?
Yes, Robert is great.
Well, let's talk about this. So when we think about NASA, we think about NASA. Does NASA have a presence here in Washington State?
So that's our job here that we run through the University of Washington. NASA has lots of centers everywhere, right? And the nearest one is California. Yeah. So NASA realized that this is not a good thing, that people up here in the Northwest need a presence. And so they've funded us to create this presence here through a variety of student programs.
I love that. So when we think about student programs, let's get real specific. Is NASA a STEM-only agency?
Well, I'm a STEM geek, okay?
Yeah, you are.
So there's no doubt about that. But it takes everybody to make NASA successful. In our efforts, we do have social media, we have artists, we have accountants, and we have the STEM geeks that run the big missions, but it requires everybody to participate.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up, speaking of being a NASA geek, my father was in the military and we spent time in Florida, and I can remember driving to Cape Canaveral and watching some of NASA's beautiful projects go up in the air, and it does take a village, doesn't it? It's just not those people who make it work. It's those people who advertise for it and do the graphics and everything else that goes along in today's society.
Absolutely.
So when we think about, Gwen, NASA having a presence in Washington State, are there NASA education programs or projects within the state of Washington?
Well, we basically work with other communities, educators all over the state of Washington to promote the program.
I love that. So the answer absolutely is yes. So, Gwen, what is the mission of these programs? I want you to tell me in terms of Washington State, and then I'm going to go to Robert for like the bigger picture. So for Washington State, what kind of mission are we looking at?
We are working with the underrepresented and the underserved.
Okay.
We are trying to get out to those areas just to give them a chance to have a little bit of science.
Yeah.
Even if we just spark the interest in one person as we go out, that is one of our goals.
I love
that. We go to a lot of rural areas also.
Which, I mean, I think that's so important because you know, STEM, NASA is for everybody. And if it's not presented like that, and if there isn't a far-reaching arm, then we only have what we have in the city. And wouldn't that be just a shame? If you look at any of those famous astronauts, many of them lived in the Midwest. They were farm boys. You know, they didn't live smack dab in a big city and weren't geeks and tech nerds.
Yep.
So it's for everybody, isn't it, Gwen?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. When you think about this, Robert, from a bigger point of view, what comes to mind for you?
So to me, what's important is that Northwest is actually an epitome of an issue that you just mentioned. We have the cities, but we have big places in rural America that don't get access. And so the support from the Science Mission Directorate at NASA is enabling us to go out to these districts and provide more science, more engagement for it. And that's what we're looking to create.
Yeah, I can see that. And boy, how fortunate those students are. I can just imagine the looks on their faces when they hear from their guidance counselor that there's going to be an opportunity to study this. And it's like, really? It's not just going to be on YouTube? What fabulous work that you do.
Yeah.
So, Miss Abigail, let's chit chat for a second here, Sweet Pea. You are a senior, as we said, at Lincoln High School. Go Lincoln Abes. Let's talk about, how did you first hear about this program?
I kind of got warped into it by my friends.
Yeah.
But I was with one of my friends. She was already on the Mount Tahoma team, so our schools merged. She was on the Mount Tahoma team, and she walked me in, and one of my friends who goes to Lincoln, who was on the Lincoln team, he was like, well, you're already here, you might as well help. And from there, it just took off.
I love that. So have you, Jessica, I'm sorry, Jessica, I'm thinking about something else. Abigail, have you always had an interest in STEM, or was it just right place, right time for you?
It's been kind of, I've had interest in a lot of things. I more had the artistic part in this certain program, but I'm also interested in computer science, so coding and programming. So.
Oh, how fabulous. So describe your experience. Was there a typical day for you in this program? What did you learn?
For me, it kind of didn't ever end. It was very like spontaneous in a sense. So when we had the time to work on it, we worked on it. It was a very, very demanding program, at least for us, because we spent, some days we would be in class, even during the summer, from like 7 a.m. to 4, and right afterwards we would go to working on robotics till like 7. And so, yeah, we spent a lot of time, and sometimes I would spend time after the meetings being together. I would spend time at home working on certain art parts to it, or other people would work on programming or drone skills and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're putting in the kind of hours that Robert puts in on a day-to-day basis, and Gwen. So you're really getting a taste of what it feels like to work in that industry. Both of you are nodding here like, yes, that's the case.
But it's in an enjoyable environment.
It is. Well, you're doing what you love, and I can tell, Abigail, by the look on your face that you really loved it. Let's talk about, Robert, the ways in which the city of Tacoma is involved in these projects, because that's part of that partnership.
Yeah, so the partnership, we were very fortunate to have collaborations with the city of Tacoma, and we had a really big turnout. There were over 19 teams here in Tacoma that participated in the challenge. And the whole point about the challenge was to remove the scare factor of technology and introduce all these kids to the different kinds of opportunities. So a really big turnout, and we're hoping to have even a bigger turnout this year.
So how many teams were actually in the competition?
We had over 300 teams across the United States participate.
Oh my gosh. Okay, how'd your team do?
We did very well. We got first place in regionals and, well, both the regionals, local and regional. Yeah.
She says as she's just so easily as she's sitting there on the couch, well, we got first place. You are amazing. I love that. So when we think about someone as amazing as Abigail here, do students need to have A grades or an A+ GPA to be involved in this program, Robert?
So actually, no. What we want to do is introduce everybody to it. Doesn't matter what grade. And what we've seen is that by participating in here, their grades will improve. That's what we're seeking to do.
There we go. Oh, I love that. So Gwen, let's talk about in this last 3 minutes, how do we prepare parents when someone like an Abigail says, well, I was just dropping a friend off and now I'm on this team and they see the hours that they love to put in. How can parents help and what do they need to know?
Parents can help by allowing their students to participate in our program.
Yes.
And they have a lot of different things that will help promote. And I think that once they see the interest their child has in the different parts that we give them, they'll probably get more interested in having their child grow from there.
Exactly. You know, I think about when my daughter was in high school and some of the challenges that she came home with in terms of learning. And at that time, you know that phrase, it's not new math? Well, it was new math. You know, I looked at her and thought, oh my gosh, this is so far ahead of what I learned in school, that I was learning as well, and actually, you know, checked out some books and thought, if I'm going to help her with this, I need to know that. I would imagine that also happened in your family, didn't it, Abigail?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. Not that your mom, who drove you here today, is ready to sign up for NASA,
Yeah.
but I'm sure she had some new vocabulary she had to understand.
Yeah, there was a bit. We definitely, the project details, learned some new words.
I love that. So, Robert, let's talk about events that are coming up in the Tacoma schools that we want our parents to be putting in their calendar so their kids have a chance to be a part of this great program.
So you're going to hear it first, but we're going to repeat the program, except the first program was for Apollo and the Lunar. We're now going to set it for exploring Mars, associated with the Mars 2020 launch. And the kids will have an opportunity, if they win, like Abigail, to go see the launch of the Mars 2020 next year in summer. You know, you can't participate.
I have this. Where was this when I was in high school?
I had the same problem. That's why I'm doing it now.
My goodness. All right. Well, I just want to say in this last 30 seconds, thank you to all three of you. You two for providing the guidance, the curriculum, the vision, you know, in terms of nationally, but also here locally for our students to be a part of that Mars experience. And you, my dear, for just stepping in all of your brilliance. I want to wish you well in your senior year, and any college would be so fortunate to have you. So congratulations, my dear. And I want to have the two of you back on the comfy couch when that next team starts up. Deal?
Deal.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. When we come back after a little bit of musical chairs, Tacoma Housing Authority will be here. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.